Now, let's say we want to open a new template. In order to do so, we click on the Office button or the File button in the upper left corner, and then a new menu will open. We'll click New, and in the new dialog box or menu that comes up, we'll click on either Recent Templates or Installed Templates, or we'll go down to Resumes. Right here we have new resume samples. In the version of Microsoft Word you're using, it might just say Resumes. This will open up an additional menu of resumes. You might have to click under Microsoft Office Online in order to get these, but eventually you should be able to find all sorts of different styles that Microsoft offers in terms of creating resumes. We have standard resumes. As you can see, you can get a preview of what it looks like over here. And you can go through and just choose something that works for you. If you do choose one of the Microsoft Office Online resumes, you'll still have to fill in the information. A lot of it's going to be changed. I'm going to teach you how to make a resume from scratch today, but this is always an option as well. And we'll use this at least to start to show you how to format in Microsoft Word. If you did want to start from a blank document, which is something that we're going to be doing, you would go back into File, New, and as you can see you have blank document here, and over here in the lower right under blank document you would click Create. So you'd go into New, in Blank or Recent, choose Blank Document, and then click Create. But for right now, we're going to go back into this resume and play around with it a little bit. Now let's say we wanted to format the margins. In order to format the margins, you go up to the Page Layout menu tab, and you find the Page Setup gallery, which in this case is the second gallery. Depending on the commands you use in Microsoft Word and your version of Microsoft Word, your gallery may be in a different place, but it's usually close to the left. You'll click on Margins in the command buttons, and this opens up a drop-down Margins menu. We want to click on Normal. That's up here at the top. That'll apply normal margins to our resume. There's other margin options like Narrow, which brings everything closer to the edges, Wide, which pushes everything into the middle and leaves a lot of blank space on the edges. But we really want to use Normal. Now, let's say you don't like this font here. In order to change a font for something that's already been typed, you would highlight it, and then changing the font always is the same. You'll go into the Home tab by clicking on it, and down in the Font Gallery, you can set your font in the pull-down menu. You can set your font size. You can bold your font by clicking on the B, or unbolding it by clicking it again. Or you can italicize your font. You can also underline it, make it strike through, make it subscript or superscript. For example, maybe I want to make this subscript or superscript. And you can change the color of your font as well. Here's the undo button if you don't like any of the changes you made. Now, once we know how to use the font, we might want to change some things about the paragraph. If you need to change the line spacing, the paragraph indent size or style, or change the justification, you'll of course just click on the Home tab, and in the paragraph gallery, which is right after the font gallery, you can change the indent with the buttons in the middle here. So if I wanted my indent here to be greater, I would use the indent buttons, which pushes the line in either further from one side or closer to that side. You can change the alignment altogether with the alignment buttons in the lower left. For example, if I wanted this centered or right justified. We'll left justify it for now though. And we can change the line spacing even. For example, if we wanted to change the line spacing in this whole area here, we have a line spacing command button here that will either shrink the space between lines or increase it. So text alignment is important because we can align our text in many different ways. Most text is right justified in a resume, but it could also be, or rather left justified, but it could also be right justified and it could be centered, which is what this was before we started playing with it. You can also justify it to the edges, like a newspaper column. For example, right here, we might want to justify the entire paragraph so that all the edges match up. Or right here. If there's not enough information on the line to take it to the end of the line, that can't be done. But perhaps this line, this paragraph will help us justify. Yep. So as you can see, there's a straight line here and a straight line here. Now, most resumes though just use left justification, which leaves the line a little ragged on this end, but still flat against this end. But you can also clean it up a little by doing that, which increases spaces between letters there. We're going to leave it how it was though. Now, indents, as I showed you, you may want some paragraphs to be pushed in from the margin, especially paragraphs under a heading. In order to do that, you would click these buttons here. This gives more space between the side of the page and the text and helps the resume look more organized depending on how you use it. Now, we may want to even set some tabs. So let's say that we wanted to put some information in that was spread out across the line, but maybe not centered and touching. So let's say we said to the left, to the center, and to the right. One thing we can do to make this work, rather than space everything out until it's spaced out the way we want, is we can go into the paragraph gallery under the Home tab and click the drop-down arrow, which is a small icon in the lower right corner of the gallery that looks like a dark arrow pointing to the lower right and a lighter arrow pointing in the opposite direction. This opens the full paragraph dialog box. In the lower left section, click on Tabs. This opens the Tab dialog box. You can set a left, you can set a center, and set a right tab in this box. Now all you got to do is press Tab, the Tab button on your keyboard in the upper left, to make the tabs happen. Now normally, when we use the Tab button, there's a standard space. It spaces things out in a pretty constant way. So about 5 little spaces or so. But we can also use tabs to make something neat and clean like this. Finally, we may want to manually insert page breaks, maybe between two sections that may belong on its own page. When we get to our resumes, our references are going to have to be on their own page. And in order to do that, we're going to want to insert a page break. In order to insert a page break, you go to the Insert Menu tab, and in the very first gallery, you have the Pages gallery, and you have Cover Page, Blank Page, and Page Break. Just clicking it inserts a page break. Now, if we regret our decision to add a page break in, all we have to do is go to the beginning of the first text or content on that page and press backspace until the page break is removed. We can break a page right where text is by going to the front of that text and hitting Insert Page Break. This will immediately create a new page right at the beginning of that line. And that's it. Next, we'll be learning about the basic resume format.